yeah, ooh, that's how it always starts. But then later there's running and screaming.
The world has just changed so radically, and we're all running to catch up. How can we possibly have the slightest idea of what to expect? The best intentions. Some of the worst things imaginable have been done with the best intentions.
Dr. Malcolm, here to share a few campfire stories with my uncle.
You can convince the Washington Post and the Skeptical Inquirer of whatever you want. But I was there, I know what happened, and so do you.
I don't think you're giving us our due credit. Our scientists have done things which nobody's ever done before.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could that they didn't stop to think if they should.
Hello and welcome to the October issue of Jurassic Minutes, where we discuss recent movie, toy and franchise news for the Jurassic series. I'm Brad.
I'm Dave.
And on this episode we'll be looking at some Jurassic World 3 casting news, the fact that Jurassic World 3 is about to start production, and we have a little bit of an insight into some of the makings of MATTEL'S figures as well. But all that and a lot more coming up on today's show.
And we can charge anything we want, $2,000 a day, $10,000 a day, and people will pay it. And then there's the merchandise. I can personally...
Donald.
This park was not built to cater only for the super rich. Everyone in the world has the right to enjoy these animals.
Sure, they will. I mean, what, we'll have a coupon day or something.
David, new stuff, new toys, new stuff inbound. I think last time we talked, you just picked up the... it was like a storybook for Jurassic Park 3. What else have you been up to? What have you been getting?
I got it was Wendy's Presents the Jurassic Park Institute official guidebook, and it's really interesting, and this thing comes from Japan, so like most of it is in Japanese and I can't even read it. But it's got a lot of neat rare photos in it that are exclusive to this book alone. And I know Egypticus3 on Instagram has shared some, and I've shared some through the Jurassicpedia account. But yeah, it's got, like, for example, a picture of the Velociraptor from the Lost World in the long grass, and it's just poking its head out of the long grass and looking kind of off camera with blood dripping down its snout. And usually a lot of these photos in the Lost World, these kind of like behind the scene photos, were published with like a red filter on them. And this one doesn't have that filter, so you can see the colors real crisp and clear. It's really good.
And you can see how much detail they put into those animatronics as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it might be from the ATHIE death scene. I'm not entirely sure, but I keep hearing that rumor pop up about these animatronic photos, which, because we never really see a lot of the animatronics in the long grass scene. It's almost all the CGI except for that one shot of the animatronics poking their head up from the grass. You know?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
And the other thing I got, speaking of Velociraptors, was Mattel put out the Amber Collection, which we've talked about on here before, and I got the Velociraptor, the female Velociraptor from the first movie. It's really cool. I wish that the head closed all the way, but that's about my only gripe about it. It's the mouth doesn't close all the way, so I can't. It kind of is in a permanent snarl kind of look. But yeah, and the tail has a kink in it that's kind of reminiscent of the Cyclops Raptor. So that part I kind of think is kind of cool. I don't mind that so much.
Yeah, I'll have to start looking online for some of that stuff, because there's no way they're going to bring that over here.
The tons of articulation. Even the sickle claws move.
Oh wow!
I know, and so yeah, tons of articulation. They really did a great job on this one.
Yeah, well, I need to hunt for some more. The Brachiosaurus just started appearing on shelves over here, and I went to my local shop yesterday, and it wasn't in any of the stores surrounding me, so I couldn't even go for a drive a little further to get it.
I know, I've had the same issue, man.
They said maybe Tuesday I'll be here on the next truck, so
yeah,
I need it.
Same. Yeah, It came out, and my local Target had one, and I guess they just never got it back into stock because I haven't been able to get over to Target. I started a new job recently, just haven't really had the time to get over there and search.
Well, yeah, even yesterday in the local store, in the Jurassic World aisle, sort of looking where the hell are they going to put it. They've got 12 of the rivals in the Indoraptor on the top shelf where you'd put all the big stuff, and it's all up there. I'm like, they're going to have to move a lot of this stuff to fit a couple of these. Even the big blues here as well, so...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're going to have to make some space.
Definitely.
Something new on my side. Recently, we had the announcement from Chronicle Collectibles that their Alan Grant and JP1 Raptor were going up for pre-order, and after a lot of umming and ahhing, I decided to pre-order, get on that train. I know we've talked a lot about their sculpting and comparing them to Iron Studios and that. As much as I'd love to get some of the Iron Studios stuff as well, and as much as I've complained about the Grant sculpt on its own, I don't think any of the others really hit the Grant sculpt on the mark either. So these two look good together. I hope there's more characters coming out, and I might just look for Iron Studios for just the dinosaur stuff, the T-Rex and the Explorer, down the track a bit further. Before we get into this month's news, I just want to have a bit of a brief discussion and call out to some of the fantastic photographers out there. Dave, you've been doing a bit when you got your custom T-Rex and that, but there's been a lot of stuff on the Facebook groups of fans with their Mattel figures and other like the Papo animals as well, just taking some amazing photography out in the real world. Shout out to Jurassic Compound. I know they've been doing a lot. There's been some others as well. Just some of the photography is just mind-boggling.
Yeah, it is. I follow Ted Brothers on Instagram and a couple other custom toy photographers.
Yep.
Ted Brothers does repaints and toy photography, and the stuff they put out is just amazing. I mean, how they do some of these custom shots is beyond me. I mean, they just have the imagination to do it. You know, I mean, it's even beyond what I can do.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing too, because I know that some others, they do the custom figures. So you've got Ray Arnold's and you've got Gennaro's and all these other figures that would only hope to get in a legacy line or something. Being able to interact with environments, even some small model making as well to interact with the toys. And even some just showing off their photography and then showing behind the scenes of the toys sitting there on the ground. You cannot fathom how they make one photo into the other. How real one thing looks and how much like toys the other shot looks. But yeah, I just wanted to call out some of the fantastic artists out there. First up, we've got a bit of older news here. We've got two news stories that come through at the end of September, leading on into October. After, well, I'd like to say, is the success of Battle at Big Rock, Colin has pretty much said that if the fans want it, they'll make more live-action spin-offs.
Yeah, I heard that as well, and it's definitely something I'd like to look. I'm looking forward to because Battle of Big Rock was awesome.
Because Colin was talking about how there's already the Camp Cretaceous coming up on Netflix, and pretty much said if the audience demands it, we will provide. So we discussed what some of those stories might be that we'd like to see at the end of the Big Rock review we done for September's issue of Jurassic Minutes. But it's good to see that this is a real possibility.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to see more shorts.
Yeah, we did discuss then too of how they'd judge the success of Big Rock since it was sort of released on FX with the screening of Jurassic World and then put online afterwards. So maybe if it gets a couple of million YouTube likes or something, they'll consider that successful. But watch this.
Like we reported, I think that it was number 2 in the YouTube trend, and it trended on Twitter, and it also was rumored to be like a pilot for, I think it was a live action series, which turned out it wasn't, but it might end up being a pilot for like a bunch of, like a short series, like I think live action equivalent to, say, the Disney Star Wars shorts that they run, something that's between 3 minutes and 5 minutes or something, you know?
Yeah, I wonder. It all depend on what the budget for Big Rock was as well, whether it was close to what they could achieve with a TV budget to do a small series. Even as you were saying, just a series of 5-minute segments that make up a larger story over, say, 13, 14 episodes. Could be something they could do as well, but
that could easily work. I remember Star Wars did that in 2002 and 2003 between Attack the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, where they did this 5-minute episodic series where it's basically, it comes out to be about 2 hours long, but it's a short series where each episode is about 5 minutes long.
I remember that, yeah.
I remember I would race home from school on when it was running so that I could watch it, because it aired like a half hour after I got out of school.
Yeah, even something animated like that, as long as it was not necessarily more adult, but just sort of wasn't like what we're getting currently with the Lego series. Just a little bit better storytelling, something that's in canon, and if it's bridging that gap between Fallen Kingdom and Jurassic World 3, I'd be quite happy to see that as well.
Well, I think that's what Camp Cretaceous is supposed to end up being. It's supposed to be like, not so much bridge the gap, but it's supposed to be more finally like an animated series that actually runs as a series and isn't just like short episodes or anything like that, like the Lego series has been thus far.
Yeah. Anyway, watch this space. Hopefully there's a lot more news coming out about this in the coming months. Hopefully we'll get news soon that something else is going to be coming down the pipeline. It's been rumoured for the longest time Bryce and Laura Dern have been skirting around it in interviews for the longest time as well, but during a screening of Jurassic World with Collider, Laura Dern pretty much come out and announced that she will be returning in a major role for Jurassic World 3, and also come out with the surprise that Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum are also coming back in large roles.
So yeah, we got the big three back. That's exciting.
I love all the reports and write-ups about they're all calling her Sattler, which we know from JP3 she's no longer Sattler. I'm
kind of hoping they don't retcon that just for the sake of a useless retcon, because I mean that happened. I don't want her getting divorced or having some kind of stupid nostalgia fan bait moment where they make her where she goes back with Grant or something, you know?
Yeah.
Just have her in the movie. Don't sideline her and don't retcon her, you know?
Yeah, it's don't bow to the fans. A lot of fans dislike of Jurassic Park 3. It's almost going to be like the Spinosaur in Main Street and getting the Rex run through it. Just, oh yeah, we know this is what should have happened back in Jurassic Park 3. And she had 2 kids and was happily married, so we know that the candle's not there anymore. That even now, after, like, by the time the film comes out, it's going to be 20 years since the release of Jurassic Park 3, so yeah.
Well, even then, in the novel, she's not married. She's not even remotely involved with Grant. She's just his grad student.
Yeah, exactly. So they're returning in major roles. I don't know what to think about it all. During the Amblin press release, where they pretty much confirmed it all, they also sort of had the comment, when the world's gone prehistoric, you call in the experts, which I suppose the only thing here is they've all had multiple appearances in the franchise, where there's other actors that I'd love to see come back that have only had the one movie. I know they're trying to sort of tie it all up in a nice bow of, even Colin said he wants to go back to that Jurassic feel, smaller story, more sort of techno thriller sort of film as well. I hope that Amblin's just sort of talking crap there, because that sort of sounds like they're going towards that Planet of the Apes Jurassic sort of feel, where the dinosaurs are pretty much taken over, or in mass population around the world anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's more of a marketing thing, because Colin confirmed that it's not going to be like a dinosaurs attacking cities kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's good.
I think it's going to be. I think that was more like, all right, we got the big three, you know.
Mm. Yep, and it's good that it's going to be major roles and not just cameos. Because as good as it was to see Jeff Goldblum have a bit of a resurgence with Thor Ragnarok and coming into Jurassic or Fallen Kingdom, he didn't really need to be there. That whole appearance by him at the hearing.
Yeah, it was kind of I wouldn't say forced, but it was more like, I mean, they could have easily done a lot more with him, and I feel like it was more of just a bone thrown to the fans. You know?
I'd say missed opportunity. Just, you've got Jeff Goldblum. Okay, he might be busy. He might not be busy. He has a line. Here we are again talking about dinosaurs. I reckon that was ad-libbed. I reckon he said that when they're in the hearing. But yeah, it's just gonna be interesting how they incorporate them all into the larger story.
Well, I think that it was interesting that you brought up Ragnarok, and I believe the director wanted to also get Laura Dern. He's a Jurassic Park fan, and he wanted to try to get all three of them back together, because Sam Neill actually plays a thespian actor in the movie. So he was able to get Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum in Thor Ragnarok, and I think he wanted Laura Dern to possibly even play Hela, but I think she was filming The Last Jedi at the time and was incapable. Bringing back like actors from the original movie has been a popular move with movies lately. They're doing it a couple times now with The Force Awakens, but with Star Wars, and I mean The Force Awakens, it was kind of necessary because you're passing the torch from one generation to another, and now I think they're just doing it just to kind of win fans back after fans didn't like The Last Jedi that much. And so now they're doing it again in Ghostbusters. They're doing it in a couple movies I saw. I know that the Halloween franchise has brought back the original director and composer for like story points and to do the composing again. And they also brought back Jamie Lee Curtis and they're also bringing back the original guy who played Michael Myers, Nick Castle. He was the guy under the mask in the very first movie, and now he's coming back for more than a cameo this time. Yeah. So it's been a popular move by Hollywood to bring back the original actors with a kind of guide from the original crew, because they did that with Jurassic World. They brought in Phil Tippett and a couple other guys.
Yeah, well, you got that experience there, so it's good to use. But it's also playing a lot of nostalgia as well.
Oh, you know it. It's a great marketing thing. You just say, "Look who's back! It's Alan Grant." You know.
And yeah, again, especially when like even Colin's comments with Jurassic World or going into Fallen Kingdom, that while he acknowledges Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 happened, they're not part of the storytelling he's going for in this trilogy. So what that's going to lead into could be something completely different. When I first heard it, I'd only heard that the three characters were returning, and I sort of had a picture in my head they were going to cast younger actors to take on the parts and maybe have a flashback or something like that, and Sam Neill and them weren't actually involved. But no, this confirms that I was wrong about that.
This also brings up the idea of who else could they possibly bring back that we don't know about. And I was talking over with some friends earlier during the week, and we were thinking, well, Julianne Moore, she only did The Lost World for the paycheck, which I didn't actually know. And then Vanessa Lee Chester does mostly TV. Ariana Richards does most of her art, but she could potentially be free if she was asked back. I mean, she hasn't done anything in a long time, but the potential is there. Then Joseph Mazzello, I'm not. I mean, he's starting to get into bigger roles, so he could definitely come back. He just played one of the guys in Queen in the latest Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh yeah, yep.
And I'm not sure about Vince Vaughn. I'm not sure how much fans would like to see his character back.
Yeah, well, it's making them fit too. So even like the kids from Jurassic Park, we had the cameo in The Lost World, and they weren't really. Yes, they witnessed and experienced the island, but as it says here, when the world goes prehistoric, you call the experts. So I don't know how much for experts that'd be. Same with Kelly. If Ian's going to be here, we know he's got 3 kids, or most possibly a lot more by now, or had a few more after the events of Jurassic Park. So there's the whole Malcolm family there, maybe without Sarah as well, that could make an appearance in some light as well.
Well, Vanessa Lee Chester, I think I looked up her schedule on IMDb, and she's doing a TV series right now, and it seems to be multi-episodes that she's in, so I'm not sure how free her schedule is depending on how much she's how much she's doing in that show, you know?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's it. Who's available, who's free, who they can borrow for a couple of days shooting or more for cameos.
I still think that the most likely to come back beyond Malcolm, Grant, and Ellie are probably Ariana Richards and Tim Mazzolo, and possibly Vanessa Lee Chester. You know?
Yep. Well,
it would be
that's
great, though. I would. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going, yeah, you bring those younger actors back that have now grown up and can give it a second go, especially when they've only done the one film too, as you're saying. Like, give them a chance to have a second entry into the franchise, or more of a second entry for in the case of Lex and Tim.
I know that for at least a lot of headcanon that before Jurassic World came out, it was kind of hoped by the fans that maybe Lex or Tim would come back as the new CEO of InGen, you know? So we don't know what InGen is doing right now. We know that it was sold to Maserati and that Hammond's legacy is kind of no longer in the picture, especially now that the park is gone. But it would be interesting to see what those characters are up to right now because of those circumstances. Now we have dinosaurs and basically Hammond's legacy running wild in the wilds of North and South America. And it'd be interesting to see what their thoughts are on that, you know?
Well, and that's where something in Jurassic World being perfect too, and in this world where there's been a park open for 10 years, what are some of those original people thinking? What was Malcolm thinking? Was he protesting, or did he just lock himself away somewhere and ignore it all because they wouldn't listen to him? But cause I suppose it was Tim and Lex's mother was Hammond's daughter. I don't know. We don't know how many other siblings she had. So, although Ludlow comes in there somewhere too, someone's nephew would be your brother's son. Yeah, we don't know the Hammond tree enough.
Interestingly, I just found a interesting article from what was it, Thursday, that Entertainment Tonight posted that said that Joe Mazzello and Ariana Richards are actually very open to reprising their roles. They want to be in these movies again.
Well, that's a good sign, because I remember Ellie was saying a lot of that when Laura Dern was saying a lot of that when Fallen Kingdom was starting to film. I think she even visited the set in England, didn't she? Or was that Sam Neill? Someone visited over there.
I think that might have been Sam Neill visited the set.
Yeah, so it would be good. It would be good if you get a few more back than just the main three. Up next on the news train, we heard some rumours or heard that possible filming is to commence in Malta, in the Mediterranean. I'm going to put this in with a grain of salt, along with Ireland as being a film set for Battle at Big Rock.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much is going to be filmed here. I suspect it's just going to be something for the Mosasaur because of the beautiful oceans and beaches there. It could be something simple like Grant and Ellie are sitting down having a drink or something, and someone in black comes up and says, "We need to speak to you," or something like that. They're at a cafe in Malta, and that's all it is. So I remember some of the outcry from fans, maybe when we heard news that Jurassic World or Fallen Kingdom was going to be filming in the UK, and all of a sudden all the art and memes come up with pteranodons attacking Big Ben and all this stuff, and no, they're just filming at Pinewood. It's not set. It's not set there. They're just filming there. So grain of salt, but I'd love to see some of this area on film anyway.
It could be not even Malta, period, though. You know, I mean, it could be just it's standing in for something else, and Malta just happened to have the photographic genuineness that they're looking for. You know.
Yep, that's exactly right. They're just after the setting and not the actual where it should be.
Because I think they're filming again at Pinewood Studios.
Yes, well, that'll take us straight into the next story as well. Frank Marshall's confirmed that Jurassic World 3 is going to begin filming February next year. That's 2020 at Pinewood Studios. So they're back there filming again. They filmed, I know at least they filmed some or most or all of Fallen Kingdom there.
They filmed. I think it was the night. It was the night set to the opening scene of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and then like the rooftop chase and all those rooftop stuff and various interior shots were done at Pinewood Studios. Like the Lockwood Manor stuff was the all Pinewood Studios.
And that's where you got to take what you read or see with a grain of salt. I remember some of the set photos come out of what was to be ruined Main Street for those night shots.